Attention! Are you or a loved one a being who randomly spawned in and then one day started having memories, complex emotions, a curious sense of self, bodily maintenance, and an inevitable death that constantly marches towards you? If so, you may qualify for financial compensation. Contact the law offices of Nunya B and Joe M at 4 to receive more information. All right. It seems we have all your information here. Thank you for your time. Now, while we begin to process your casework, let's talk about some weird stuff about being. In particular, being a person, huh? Am I right? Humans have complex societies and very bizarre social cues. What I want to mostly focus on today is when we accidentally enter out of bounds for social norms. In other words, when we get to places that are just awkward, don't make sense, or are otherwise situations that we generally are not prepared to confidently encounter. Foremost, Bacon Boy, I want to comment on the nature of presentations. And I mean in-person presentations amongst peers or direct authority figures. Not online viewings of TED Talks or watching the presidential debates. Those are a whole other can of worms. And also aren't real. Can't prove they exist and can't convince me. But something I learned from my time in business school was how little I am able to maintain concentration during most presentations. My ADHD kicks in 1,000-fold when people drivel information that they have to deliver and I have to listen to. As such, I typically would just doodle and somewhat receive their message sometimes. Ultimately, somehow I did very well in class despite only being able to tune into about 30% of a semester's information at my best. What I could pay attention to, however, are the subtle intricacies of a given person's character and behavior. At the end of the day, entering a meta state of observation was vastly more interesting than learning about stock portfolio betas or the current ways in which SEO management could be optimized for small companies. I mean, right? And some of the things that I picked up on completely changed the way I saw others and felt during presentations or meetings, both as an attendee and a conductor. For instance, oftentimes I could see when a presenter was or wasn't engaged in what they were talking about, meaning that they were spewing information on autopilot while we were pretending to listen on autopilot. Everyone in the room would have a dazed look and subtly nod and smile, yet no one was there. The room was basically empty, everyone lost in thought. Eventually I realized that mediocrity was just difficult to pay attention to, which, let's be honest, most presentations in general, but especially ones that people care little about giving, are in fact mediocre. Although, to be fair, even good presentations sometimes don't have a connection between the audience and the speaker. It's kind of a roll of the dice, which honestly, in a weird way, helped me feel less nervous when giving presentations because I know for a fact that not everyone is trying to critically judge every action and nonverbal cue I perform. Although I know you are. I'm watching you. Also, sometimes I crack a smile through the performance I'm giving when presenting because I realize that I am trying to be authoritative and demonstrate deep knowledge and establish credibility on a subject I Googled like 3 days ago and quickly jotted notes down on. And it makes me feel silly to know most of my peers and authority figures are in the exact same boat. We are all just playing pretend. Playing businessman, judge, teacher, student, everything. It's just a silly game of trying to make other people believe in our roles we perform. Even though everyone is just a weird, walking, digestive, cyclical, goofy goober. And I suppose this is sort of an indirect out of bounds, particularly in a westernized, deeply repetitive social setting. It never stops being play pretend, though. We just change the way we think about it as we grow up. Always different roles, different hats, always silly. All a game. But I guess as for some more direct examples of social out of bounds, how about if someone holds a door open for you, or you hold a door open for someone else, but the distance between the door enterer and the door is too far. And now, so as to not be rude and make the door opener wait, a game of catch up is required. Zooming to the door is now added as an objective. Here, look. Point A, point B, due to the door. Opens door. Now point A dude has to hustle. Was it worth it? Point B dude? Was attempting to be polite actually rude because now someone had to hurry to the door? Is it rude to continue walking the same pace towards the door someone else opened for you when it's too far? I mean, someone made their decision to be polite, and maybe they should have to commit to it. I hurry to the door if it's open far, and I let the door slam immediately after I go through if someone behind me is too far away. I'm not playing games here. I refuse. If you're too far, I'm not gonna try to be polite because it is awkward. And ultimately, power move, baby, feels great. And you know what else feels great? Trying to give someone a handshake just to realize you fumbled the gamble. Missed all 3 slots for the slot jackpot of normalcy. Maybe you go for the classic shake and they try to dab you up, or you go for the old hand slap when they wanted a bro hug. It's like a game of rock, paper, scissors, but no one wins. Seriously, it just sucks. You can't redeem it or overcome it. It's done with. You just have to pretend it never happened and hope it never happens again. But it will. Probably the next time you see that same person. The cycle continues. Welcome to life. I think another excellent example of what I'm talking about can be illustrated as such. Have you ever been traveling along some sort of path via legs or other tool-assisted speedrun tech when you spot someone you know that is just far enough away that you can't say hello comfortably? Like, they're too far to greet them yet. And they're moving towards you, so you will say hi at some point. What do? See, the challenge here you may start to notice is, when do you actually acknowledge their existence? You do want to say hi to them, and they probably are down to say hi to you as well. However, until that beautifully precise moment of agreement occurs, looking at them or saying hi to them or anything leads to a very weird moment of anticipation until you can actually get close enough to properly interact. Should you yell "Hey!" to them the split second they appear? What if they don't hear you or they ignore you? What if other people are around and notice you just got socially rejected and now everyone feels weird? I think this is a good example of not having a proper social structure in place that results in just confusing most humans in their day-to-day life. In this situation, personally, I just stare near them and smile, and I keep walking, and I wait for them to realize they have no choice but to say hi to me. They'll try not to make eye contact early, and I won't force it. Oh, but I wait, hungry for friendship. I think a good final example of something weird that has somehow embedded itself into our daily way of life is the whole sneeze call and response we do. What a wacky tradition to carry on. If I sneeze, which is essentially just blowing out boogers and spit, you'll probably say a variation of "bless you." The only reason I could imagine we still do it, besides our nature to blindly follow socially accepted behaviors and cues, is that it low-key feels good when someone says "bless you." Even though it's just a reflex at this point, an out-of-control kind of impulse we feel we have to do when someone sneezes, hearing "bless you" helps to make us feel like we belong, you know? But what really sucks about it is when no one in a room full of people says bless you after a sneeze. There is no feeling so defeating, so socially exiling than when not a single person says bless you. An involuntary bodily function that is socially accepted like sneezing instantly becomes a source of shame and self-hatred. Sneezing in silence makes you a loser. Plain as that. Loser. And with that, we just finished filing your paperwork. And unfortunately, while you did not qualify for financial compensation, you did qualify for existential dread and overthinking situations. Yay. Yeah, track. Yeah. Anyways, those are just a few scenarios that have been on my mind because they are so weird and potentially awkward, and they're just out of place or completely disruptive to the rhythms we use to guide us socially. Maybe you do or don't agree with my view on these things being somewhat out of bounds, but, like, seriously, let me know your thoughts. I like being introspective about the nature of how we interact with each other and drawing attention to the strange and complex means in which we conduct ourselves. So, that's that. Regardless, hey, if you hear this, I love you. Stay safe, and no matter what you do, don't scratch and sniff the screen. You won't like what you smell. Kisses.